6 years with the Giants. Brew, do you like this move by Philadelphia?
I love it. I mean, and Philadelphia seems to have money that no other teams have.
Yeah,
I mean, but Nick's talked to us about it. Like, you know, they're going to have to pay it back later. But this
now's the time to go for it.
Right.
Yep, that's right.
And I do think some of this is a reward, and I'm glad for. What more could he have done? He may have been able to break the rushing record had you allowed him. You won a Super Bowl. I think he's going to come back next year and have a great year. And I'm excited to see, like, I just wish he had been with a team like this early in his career, because who knows what he would have done rather than be with the Giants. But I'm happy for him, and I'm also, Coach, happy for other running backs, though, because we know last year the market was really depressed for the backs. A bunch of them came out and had great years. And I'm glad to see Saquon get paid, and hopefully some of these other guys do too.
Yeah, I love this for Saquon, and the fact that he was willing to sit when he could have pushed to try to get the record. I mean, he seems like a great guy, a selfless guy. Love this for the Eagles. I think it's a great message to the rest of the league in terms of what type of organization they are, to go ahead and pay someone proactively, where usually it's, you know, guys are fighting to get this done. So I think it's great, and I think, Brew, you nailed it early on, saying that he was going to be this good.
McCaffrey,
yeah. You might need a bonus for picking that out.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's what he got the extra day
Nick
off.
Nick yelled at me for that.
No, listen. The Brew obviously did nail this. So can I get philosophical for a moment?
No, let's just.
It'll be good. I think it'll be good. Just give me a second. Can you? The audience takes its cues from you. Will you at least pretend to be interested in what I'm about?
You did 2
Okay,
minutes on
I'm
Kendrick
interested
Bourne.
in philosophy as we talk about Saquon.
This is it. I'll land the plane. I promise.
All right, here we go.
So I wish I remember the author that said this, but it's kind of, this quote has kind of become like a leading light in my life, like to try to have a positive outlook, which is never underestimate the awful luck that your bad luck saved you from.
Oh, that's good.
So, which is like, whenever something bad happens to you, don't disregard that maybe that bad thing prevented you from something truly awful. So here's why I say it.
Oh, that's good.
Saquon was devastated and hurt when the Giants wouldn't extend him and instead franchise tag him. And it was the best thing that ever happened to him. Because had they given him the contract that he wanted, he wouldn't have ever had 2,000 yards. I don't think it was possible with that Giants team. The whole world wouldn't have seen how great he can be, and he wouldn't have ever gotten close to $20 million a year. So, like, in a weird way, Joe Shane did him a solid, unintentionally, and like, this ended up being the best thing that happened to him was the Giants screwing that up 2 years ago. And so
and he wouldn't be a
potential Hall of Famer. No, any of those things. And so, and I also like the fact that there's now a $20 million a year running back, which, you know, kind of sets the new standard of what that position can get.
Oh, Cormac McCarthy, Cubs is telling me.
That's who it was?
Yeah.
Wrote The Road?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think he also wrote, what else? Did he write
wrote a lot.
No Country for Old Men? Yeah,
Yes.
a lot.
The new
Okay, well, they took the wind out of my sails. I was hoping some of them were going to not like this and talk about how bad it is, and I was all ready to get after them, and they didn't, because it is. It's a great move, and it's the appropriate move. And, you know, the Eagles don't kick the can down the road with this type of stuff. They set it up, especially so a lot of the majority of the money's being paid up front. So this whole idea that they're just going to be in serious trouble in 2-3 years, I'm like, just not buying that. Just not buying that. But right now, this is the time to be aggressive. This is the time to spend the money and also signal to other players who want to win, who want to be part of a great franchise, and want to get paid. It's, you know, you take care of us, we take care of you. This means a lot to players. This means a lot. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. The Eagles don't just use and abuse and throw you off to the, you know, to the side. That's not what this is about. Players absolutely love Philadelphia. And I've already gone through all the reasons why, so we don't have to kind of rehash all that. But this right here now, in real time, is a perfect example why. They treat their players with respect. They treat their players with respect. And there is a mutual honesty and sincerity that takes place. Because the Eagles did not really necessarily have to do this. They really didn't. And it would be very easy for Howie to be like, hey, come on, look, we're trying to, build a dynasty here, etc., etc. You said you wanted a dynasty. Like, we gave you the money that we could. We got to do this. We got to replace this guy. And, they didn't do it. They didn't do it. So, and you know what? I'm just going to stop with this nonsense of saying, potential Hall of Famer. Saquon Barkley is a Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer. He's obviously special. So he didn't show, that he was great. Nick said this not in a negative way, but it's the wrong words. Saquon was able to show everyone how special he is. And that's what the Hall of Fame is about, special players. He should not be, the way we view Saquon, he should not suffer negative consequences because he was drafted to the New York Giants. That's not on him. That's not on him. And so it's just like, well, what would Saquon Barkley need to do to, confirm that he's a Hall of Famer? He has to, win another Super Bowl or something? I don't understand. He already broke the record for regular season plus playoffs. We all know deep in our hearts he would have broken the regular season record. And everyone was like, they better win a Super Bowl if he's going to sit out for this one. Otherwise, this season's a waste. Well, the bro just won a Super Bowl, and now he's getting paid $20 million per year. And I think it's 38 guaranteed. So was it a waste? Was it a waste for all those people that were screaming it'll be a waste? I don't think so. Seems like this was a smashing success. So yeah, no, stories like this. Again, compare this to right now. Unfortunately, the Bengals are just kind of that pincushion right now because it's look what they're doing with Jamar Chase. Look what they're doing with T. Higgins. I mean, look what they keep doing, man. They can't figure out anything. They literally can't figure out anything. And the Eagles got, Jalen locked up, AJ locked up, Saquon locked up, Devontae locked up. They got their O-line locked up. I mean, it's kind of comically hilarious. Honestly, this really can be a feast and famine league. And man, I've been around the country enough and met enough people face to face, as well as obviously interacting with the fans on here, that it actually does. Part of me wishes I was more of a jerk, honestly, because then I wouldn't feel as bummed out for some of these fan bases. But I actually do. I genuinely do feel bad because I just don't know. It's got to just be so frustrating and a big part of joy removed from your life when you happen to root and cheer for a team that is just poorly run. I mean, that's unfortunate. I mean, Philadelphia Eagles fans, man, they should have nothing but gratitude. They should have just nothing but gratitude, because take it from someone who's interacting with all these fan bases, who's watching all these teams and looking at how they're run and the decisions that they're making and, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's just bro, it is bad out there. Okay. It gets ugly out there. It is ugly out there. And so, the Eagles just have what arguably the best gift that you can have in the NFL. It's not winning Super Bowls. It's not Hall of Fame. It's just being well run, man. It's just being well run. At the end of the day, that's all you really can ask for. Super Bowls, NFC Championship games, Hall of Famers, nailing a draft pick. Those things will come and go, right? You can't expect just to win Super Bowl. You can't expect, even the run that the Eagles are on right now, you can't expect that every year. You can't even expect that necessarily every 5 years, every decade, but just knowing that this team has been so well run for the last 25 years or so, I mean, that is a major, major, major gift. Major gift. And so, again, to me, something like this, I mean, Think about how the Eagles keep doing stuff like this without anyone knowing. I mean, just think about that. Think about all the back and forths that the Cowboys had with CD Lamb and Dak Prescott and Micah. You know, we heard so much information about all of it. Justin Jefferson and the Vikings, obviously, as I just mentioned, Bengals, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Like, there's so much back and forth. And then everyone talks about it in the media, back and forth. Should they pay? What do they want? Are they close to this number? What do they want? You know, and it just goes on and on and on and on. And then the Eagles just, out of nowhere, sign AJ, sign Devontae, sign, extend, whatever, Jalen, Saquon. I mean, like, it's really remarkable. It is. It's really remarkable, and it is such a rarity. And like I keep saying, man, it's just the sign of a really well-run team. And I think it's one of the cool things about, obviously, just as I'll be philosophical right now, real quick, is that, we keep obviously growing as a society. We become more and more aware of what's happening today, what happened yesterday, and how we predict the future, right? It's kind of because we're all connected. We get to have all these conversations, 24/7, essentially. And I think, maybe back in like the 80s and the 90s and the zeros, like, you didn't realize probably as a player the importance of a well-run team versus not a well-run team. Like, things just were more cloudy. It was harder, I think, at the time for players to really understand what's going on. Now the access is through the roof. The connection is through the roof. I mean, again, once upon a time, like, it was going to be a lot more difficult for a player like a Saquon to, like, interact with any of the real suits and ties, that are really running the NFL. Now he can just casually, like, text them. He could just literally whip out his phone and just DM them. Like, it's just the easiest thing. And everyone knows everything now. You're not relying on, like, a newspaper headline or, checking, just think about before ESPN was ESPN and all of that. It's just harder to get the news and the information. And so now when these things happen, it just signals to everyone instantly. And because of that, everyone, for the most part, is getting smarter and a deeper understanding of how all of this works. And it signals the importance of the difference of playing a well-run team versus not. And it's why Tyreek Hill kind of found himself, like, at the short end of, like, I maybe made a mistake. And now he's constantly disgruntled and other people around the league see what's going on in Cincinnati. Is anyone signing up to play in Cincinnati? Like, did Saquon, in his mind, was he even remotely thinking about going to Cincinnati? Probably not. I could say definitely not. And those things matter when you're trying to continue to build, when you're trying to continue to grow, when you're trying to extend your Super Bowl window, however we want to officially define that. And it just matters. It matters. It matters to have the stories like the Becton, Mekhi Becton. It matters to have the story of even having someone like a Brandon Graham be here forever. It matters to have someone like Jalen Hurts, Sirianni, Saquon, and, all these stories honestly matter. And I guarantee you other players get motivated, inspired, and also look to a team like the Eagles and say, like, that's what I want. That's what I want to find. That's what I want to do. And if I need to kind of, be, take a little less or whatever it may be to get there. And also when Howie says, listen, when we first sign you here, this is all I can give you right now. But I promise you, if you ball out, if things go well, like, you got my word, like, I'm going to take care of you. Boom. You point to Saquon and they're just like, yeah, all right, let's do it. Like, that's the difference. That's the difference. And it matters significantly. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Philadelphia Eagles giving Saquon a 2-year, $41.2 million extension? Becomes the first running back to sign $20 million per year. Sounds pretty good to me. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.